Good morning, good evening, and welcome to World of Warships. My name is Robin, and today we are about to sail in the Tier 7 Premium USN Light Cruiser Boise. But first of all, thank you very much for tuning in the video. I really appreciate it, and I hope you will enjoy your time here. Yet another full commentary on our plate, and a quite similar feature as our last video reviewed the Nueve de Julio, but we've definitely raised the spice for today's episode, though I won't spoil you further. With that said, let's review the details of the ship we are about to sail in. Boise offers 33,300 points of health, protected by an armor ranging from 6 to 165mm. Her main armament is composed of 15 152mm guns with a maximum firing range of 13.6 kilometers. The anti-air defense system is rated 58 with access to the defensive AA fire consumable, and the ship is able to reach 31.5 knots with a surface detection of 10.4 kilometers. These are the exact same stats to the number of our previous feature, and we have set up Boise with the same upgrades. Main armament modification 1, damage control system modification 1, aiming system modification 1, and damage control system modification 2. For our commander, we are running William Halsey, and we've set him up with priority target, expert loader, basics of survivability, expert marksman, AR, demolition expert, inertia fuse for HE shells, and concealment expert. So, Robin, you may ask, you have already featured this light cruiser to some extent in a previous video, and yes, I did, though Boise, while being slightly more popular, has also allowed me to experiment with a different commander build and benefit from the talents of William Halsey. And in the game you are about to witness, we pretty well damn needed it. Plus, I've always had a special place in my heart for squishy, fragile, heavy-hitting, nimble cruisers with a fast reload. So, for those who've seen other videos on this channel, you should feel right at home. That's enough of these descriptions. Make yourself comfortable, pause the vid and go grab yourself a drink. But it's high time we take the Boise to battle. And here we are, on the map Neighbors, Domination Mode. We got ourselves a French coast spawn, and if you don't know what that means, well, the map is based on a fictional location that would represent the northern coast of France on one side, with the southern coast of England on the opposite. But anecdote aside, we are in reach of Objective A, and we decide, at least initially, to make our way there. Already, I see that our kamikaze is not interested on scouting A at all and is heading on a course for Bravo. I am trying to entice her via chat to come and support, but that's alright for now, let's see where this goes. Matchmaking wise, contrary of our last game in Nueve de Julio, we are top dog, in a more confined layout as well for the map, which will favor us a bit more due to our limited firing range. Additionally, there isn't a lot of battleships present, only 3 on each side, but destroyers and cruisers are plenty. With that team layout in mind, I can afford to be a bit more aggressive. I mostly outspot some of the other cruisers and definitely outgun the majority of them as well, though my main goal is, of course, to try and deny destroyers on getting an early cap, for which A isn't looking too good right now. We do have a friendly Fubuki making her way towards us, so here is hoping. For now, I am still going to make for the island, south of the cap, and wait for the game to develop a bit more before I make any strong decisions. I am also backed up by a couple of cruisers and an Oktyabrskaya Revolucja. Yes, I tried to pronounce that for about 5 minutes. And to my surprise, after a request from our friendly scores, the Fubuki is going to lay down a smokescreen for us. Very considerate, and also quite rare to be completely fair. So for it not to go to waste, we are gladly going to use it. Looking at the minimap, it seems our team is actually pushing mostly our way. Friendly Leander, backed up by no less than 2 of our destroyers, has managed to secure Bravo already, chasing the enemy Mutsuki out of harm's way. And even our Shiratsuyu is contesting Charlie, even though she should consider getting the hell out of there, as she does not have lots of support outside of our Colorado. Meanwhile, Fubuki has entered A, and nothing has been spotted on our side, which leads me to think that this isn't the place we want to be if we're looking for some action. And as I say that indeed, the northern part of the map lights up like a Christmas tree. Enemy Fubuki, enemy Akatsuki, Fiji, Helena, Colorado, New Mexico. That's the majority of the enemy's destroyers and battleships up there. And it seems our scores felt safe enough to engage the only ship in our direct reach, enemy battleship Bretagne. A bit overconfident as the tier 5 battleship's retort shaves off just about 3/4 of its health. Unfortunate, but let's move on. Actually, not just yet, as enemy New Mexico joins in on the fun, and that's our first cruiser down. That gives me a decent impression that both these battleships know quite well where to place their salvos, but I am using all this early fuss to cover for my own progress. And here we go, here are the few remaining stragglers on the being spotted list. Enemy Soray and Farragut are on A, but our Fubuki has given us a cap advantage already. It is time for me to get involved, but I am also in a crossfire with New Mexico on our right. A quick check to see where the USN battleship's guns are pointed towards, and I decide to engage on Bretagne. I am paying very close attention to my priority target indicator. Enemy Bretagne lets off a salvo, one not directed at me, but as we lose our friendly Fubuki to the enemy Soray's fire, shortly followed by our Kamikaze, well, we are left quite the target in the middle of the map, aren't we? So, from none to 4 ships aiming at me now, it is time to haul ass. We do set a fire on the Bretagne. The AFHE skill allows us to really put a hurt on this lower tier battleship, but what seemed to be a good start, scores suicide aside, now turned a bit sour. Bretagne hits us for a rough 6k, and I'm already angling away from New Mexico. We are also forced to use one of our heals already. Not quite forced, but I like to heal shortly after in order to both put the consumable on cooldown and raise the damage needed to kill me in one salvo, considering how exposed I currently am. We do set a double fire on New Mexico that he will be quite motivated to extinguish. The USN battleship is known for its large volume of fire, but not specifically its accuracy, so even if I am in a dangerous spot, I will keep firing until I set him ablaze again, which we managed quite quickly. But it is high time we quit attracting so much attention. I got 5 ships targeting me now, and closely avoiding a New Mexico salvo, there is no need for me to take further risks now, is there? I am in a 3-way crossfire with Soray now fighting for the cap. I need to go dark. But just for a short moment, as I just cannot resist the temptation to keep farming New Mexico. I mean, come on, he is just sitting there, and welp, we set a second fire that will stick for a while, so worth it. Though, more importantly, Tier 5 Yahagi has entered my vicinity. Not a cruiser I'm really scared about, but one I'm actually happy to engage. Though by doing so, I need to keep in mind that multiple ships are still targeting me. I hence try to cut my speed and slightly change my course to throw off potential AP salvos. Yahagi, well, she is doing the right thing, reversing back into cover. There's nothing she can do against me, and she knows she won't sustain the exchange for long. In the meantime, friendly Leander, who was trying to creep up on New Mexico, catches the enemy Fubuki in her hydroacoustic search. That's obviously an instant target for us, and we try to pre-fire. Leander shouldn't have any problems dealing with destroyers at close range. It's actually well cut out for it, and to her credits, she does torpedo Fubuki. Unfortunately, she is in a spot that will have her run aground straight into the torpedoes of the Japanese destroyer. That trade was not worth it, and there's little to nothing I could have done to help. Though New Mexico is going to catch one of Leander's stray torpedoes. Thinking I could use the smoke as cover, I decided to engage, and I get detected instead, possibly by the Yahagi to my right still. That mistake leaves me no choice but to remain bow on and take one salvo before I have a chance to turn out and flee. And as soon as the chance presents itself, I bring all guns to bear and maneuver away. It seems the flood on New Mexico is still ticking. Adding a fire to it would surely seal its fate, though at this point no need for damage over time. The sheer HE damage should be enough to finish the USN battleship before it can reload, and we do exactly that. First kill of the game on the next target, and that is Yahagi. Our team has defended A well. There is still a stray Farragut that needs to be hunted down, and the Bretagne is falling back. On the other hand, the only survivors of the sea flank are Colorado, Shiratsuyu, and myself. Yahagi, coming around the island, is greeted by an AP salvo that does, well, little to nothing, so we quickly swap back to high explosive. I am expecting her to try and use her torpedoes though, so I am inclined to load AP for one more salvos, but seeing that she is not taking the bait, we need to get rid of her quickly. Let's stick to HE again. Friendly Shiratsuyu is helping out by actually using her guns. That's appreciated, and here comes the torpedo attempt, though we take the Japanese cruiser out before she can even try. No time to rest. Bravo Cap is being captured. Enemy Akatsuki traveled all the way down the map to see exactly to that, though she is caught by both our Fubuki and our Oktyabrskaya Revolucja, so I'll lend my help with one late salvo before focusing more on what's ahead. We are leading on points for now, though the enemy has a ship advantage and a destroyer, that is. We have a couple of extra battleships, but our Fuso is way out of position and our Colorado isn't doing too good. And as I say that, we actually lose our Fubuki to the combined fire of enemy Fiji and Akatsuki, leaving our Soviet battleship, that I will not pronounce the name again, completely exposed to the Japanese destroyer's rush. But I am not realizing it just yet, and at this range, trying to hit that destroyer would be wasted shots. Instead, I focus on a more direct threat, and that is enemy Colorado. Very healthy, very threatening, though we greet him with a 7k plus 2 fire salvo, just enough to possibly piss him right off. All of it crowned by the high caliber achievement with only 100k damage, but with this cruiser and destroy heavy matchmaking, it is quite logical to achieve. Time to burn our second heal. We have not took any citadel damage so far, so the HP recovery is actually quite significant, and it's time to kite the angry Colorado away while engaging the enemy Fiji. I'm hoping to reset the cap in time, which I actually do, surprisingly, but I know that the enemy Akatsuki is in the objective, meaning that I will not be able to reset Bravo indefinitely. Fiji gets chunked a bit, we are landing our salvos a bit behind, but we are landing them nonetheless, and the British cruiser is going to disengage and smoke up. Let's quickly recount the kills. We lost Oktyabrskaya, our Colorado was torpedoed a few moments ago. Fuso and York successfully hunted down the Farragut, but that still leaves us in a 4 versus 6 situation with no way to prevent the enemy team from regaining both a cap and now a points advantage. But it isn't hopeless just yet. While Fuso and York get back in the fight, which will take them a moment, we need to keep Colorado busy. For that, I am lucky to still have Shiratsuyu on my side, though she is hot-tailed by the enemy Mitsuki. This is actually going to work in my advantage, as it will distract Colorado enough for me to both increase the distance and take some pot shots while his guns are tracked the other way. This leaves me as a target for Fiji anyway, but I am at a safe distance away to dodge most of the incomings. For all that, Shiratsuyu had to smoke up, and Colorado's 406mm arguments take their bearings back my way. These shells I can definitely not afford to take, so in good old light cruiser fashion, I take as many evasive maneuvers I can think of while still trying to keep the pressure on the battleship. I have yet to set another fire, but at this point his cooldown would possibly be up again. I am just trying, or rather being forced, to brawl this one out with him. And here is the permanent fire, finally. But as you can see, this brings only a small cheer as we lose our only remaining cruiser, the York, to the Akatsuki. Down to 3 versus 6 now. And oh, were we ever lucky this salvo overpanned. At this point, I have no hope for my Fuso to survive, neither do I hope we maintain any cap. My goal is to finally finish this Colorado's threat so I can track all the way back to the caps as fast as possible. We took a huge risk turning in like that. Thankfully the shells only splashed us, but as I said, I have to stop kiting as an enemy Elena and Mitsuki appear, threatening our Shiratsuyu. We have multiple permanent fires burning on Colorado. This hopefully should finish him off, but for good measure I lob one more preemptive salvo just to make it that extra sure. Friendly Shiratsuyu is putting on a show for us. Not afraid to use her guns again, she nails the Mitsuki out of the fight, and this is pivotal to our chances of turning this around. Colorado goes down. This will compensate for the impending points the enemy is about to make for flipping all 3 caps in their advantages. But as Shiratsuyu safely disengages, I am left the only one able to deal with Helena. We burned our last heal a short moment ago, so this fight is actually on equal footing. Only advantage I have is that I am bearing all guns, and I need to abuse these precious seconds to deal as much damage on the US light cruiser as I can before she retorts. Enemy Fiji is also closing back in, creating a very dangerous crossfire, though I have no choice but to turn right into it. We will come out on top against Helena, and Shiratsuyu, now heading for C-cap at full speed, is also once again lending some fire support, and as we are about to secure our 4th kill, we target the Fiji in an instant. This is the opening for a potential win. We cloud our way back to 3 versus 3, but we still need more caps. A bit over 6 minutes left. This is tight, not impossible. Fiji makes the mistake of engaging me head-on. Instead of kiting me away, forcing me to push into her fire, she does the exact opposite, and we are able to stay angled while peppering her with HE, and there it is. Confederate is achieved, and the hit hard talent from Halsey is activated. I still cannot take any more damage from this Fiji. A few more salvos and I angle hard. It looks like she will go down regardless, and there it is. 5th kill. Kraken unleashed, and get the paddles out, lads. We need speed to get into Bravo as fast as possible. But look who's here. Full HP Nürnberg. Legendary DPM at tier 6. 37mm of penetration. 9 guns, 6.5 second reload. Shit, that's all I have to say. But I have a trick up my sleeve. I outspot Nürnberg by about 600 meters. This will give me time to line up the first salvo. The goal is to engage, instantly kite her away, forcing her to show broadside in order to use all her guns and ruin her with AP. Sounds good? Will it work? Well, we get off on a good foot. Nürnberg was not ready for us, and her guns are not even tracked. AP is going to land for very poor results. We cannot take these kind of risks. Let's go for the reliable HE. And I don't know if you caught it, but a smoke screen just appeared in front of us. And that is sure as hell not Shiratsuyu's. And here we go. We get these juicy shots on target. Nürnberg is firing back, though only with a third of her firepower, and I am still alternating between AP and HE to force her to keep that specific angle and prevent her from using all her guns. Incoming salvo from the friendly Fuso. Nürnberg is now losing the engagement. I am expecting a last stand turn to fire a full salvo, and there it is. Engine cut, turn right, we get the kill and evade the return fire. Shiratsuyu flips Charlie Cap, and we once again starts making our dash for Bravo. 4 minutes left. If the Akatsuki makes a run for it, she has high chances to win, but she is also threatening to finish off our Fuso, and that would be a guaranteed defeat, as our Japanese battleship is the closest to contest A and block all incoming points for the enemy team. Luckily, Fuso evades both sets from the Akatsuki. She still has a third set though, but at this point, Fuso has no choice but to attempt the cap, and as reluctant as he may be, he is still, thankfully, going for it. As I blind fire the smoke, I am having second thoughts on the fact that, well, she is not just sitting there. The incoming direction of the torpedoes point out that she was in A, but we cannot guarantee it, and as the smoke screen dissipates, revealing no destroyers at all, it's all up to Fuso to try to dodge more torpedoes from now on. I am trying to communicate as much as I can to figure out her possible location, but I am going to be as surprised as you may be when I spot shell traces coming in from Fuso's behinds. The Akatsuki, after helping capturing Charlie, then Bravo, then Alpha, killing 2 of our ships in the process, is now going to start shooting in the open on our Fuso? Sure, well, in that case, we will open up gladly. Tough distance for such a small target, but our initial volley is dead on target. We knock out her engine, and at this point, I'm pretty sure she's just giving up. And you know what? I will not complain. A couple of adjusted salvos later, while still being behind on points by a good margin, we take out the Japanese destroyer and grant our team the victory. 215,000 points of damage dealt, 10,000 XP earned, and almost 900,000 credits gained. We achieved Confederate, Dreadnought, Kraken, Unleashed, and High Caliber out of 438 shells and 17 fires, sinking 7 ships in the process. 3,058 base XP now. In a tier 5 to 7 game, that's what I like to see, I won't lie. Effectively more than doubling our Leander, which surprisingly finished second, but the true MVP of this battle, I have to say, is Shiratsuyu and her fantastic tendency to click left mouse button while having her guns selected. We put a serious hurt in both of their top battleships, dealt with 4 out of 5 of their cruisers, and helped when we could against destroyers, trying to stay afloat only possible thanks to a heal and the fact that we didn't receive any critical damage. This was one of the most intense battles I had this month, and I hope this was a solid example on how Boise can be commanded. Well people, this marks the end of this episode. Thank you very much for sticking around all the way through. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, well, a thumbs down, but stay tuned anyway. As always, there is more content to come about World Warships. Until then, you have a good one, and you take it easy.